Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Murali and I'm an educator. I've been actually talking a lot about the disease dementia, and I'm using my YouTube channel to create awareness about dementia. Okay, today I'll be discussing a bit about the human brain. But before I begin and then give you some information about it, which you probably are aware of, what makes humans so special? We actually have lots of species in the world, and each species have a certain responsibility and a role to play. A collection of these species actually what makes our planet special. But in that special planet, what makes humans so special is our brain. Now, you may ask me a question that all the other species do have brains, right? But what makes our human brains so special is, is the structure, is the anatomy of the human brain. And I'll be discussing a bit detail about the human brain because the disease that we are discussing concerns the human brain, the effect that this dementia disease has on on the brain, and what kind of changes does the human brain undergo that makes the life of the person who is affected with dementia difficult. Now, I may not be discussing the anatomy of the human brain today, but I'll be giving some information, some important information, which I also have gathered quite a lot from listening to people, reading, about it from different books and things like that. Now, you know, we all are special in a way that humans actually are the only ones who are capable of, appreciating music. We are able to think, we are able to sense. Our behavior is controlled by the human brain, by our brain basically. And while we have instinct, the instinct response that we give occasionally or many a times, uh, you know that emerges because we also are a part of the mammalian group, is there. But apart from that, it what makes humans so special is the ability to appreciate these things. Now, I have a few things that I really want to share. Now, humans are the only ones who are capable of talking about wisdom, right? We talk about knowledge, we talk about wisdom, but whereas animals do have behavior. Of course, they have a sense of knowledge, but that knowledge, that accumulation of knowledge is, uh, you know, uh, mostly used for survival, whereas we use that wisdom and knowledge for creation. We actually have invented quite a lot. Now, this creativity basically makes our human brain so special. Now, I have a few important information that I thought I should share it with you. But of course, our human brain is very complex. I'll be discussing the anatomy of the human brain probably in the next video. But the kind of communication that human brains have, particularly with respect to the connections of the neurons, and what how the human brain is divided into different lobes and things like that. Now, it is important for us to understand the human brain, the physiology, the structure of the human brain, because when a person gets affected by dementia, there are the ability to do a lot of things, right? Undergo change. It's only because of a part of the brain gets affected, and that part actually does something, right? And that ability, for example, the ability to speak, the ability to move, the ability to balance, and the ability to remember things, the ability to appreciate music, art, and a lot of other things, right? That gets affected. It's only because certain part of the human brain is affected. So that's one of the reasons why I'm saying that it's very important for us to understand the anatomy of the human brain. So I may not be going, in depth, but I will certainly be touching the surface level of the human brain. So it's very important that you follow this. Now, our sense of curiosity, the reasoning, the skills, the reasoning power that we have, the planning, the ability to solve a problem. Of course, there are animals which have been trained to solve a problem, but that doesn't come naturally for them. You may have to train them. Of course, there are quite a few intelligent animals like crow, they say, and chimpanzees are, quite intelligent. But the ability to appreciate this skill, they don't possess. It's only us who are able to actually possess. The other day I was actually listening to a powerful podcast, and in which the podcast was centered around the idea of war. But the war actually focused, the podcast actually focused a lot on the human brain, because it's only the human brain which drives this war. The speaker actually mentioned quite a lot of important information, and I thought it's important for me to share them with you through this video. I'll be going through each and every point. Now, humans are the only ones who can actually think about, our own thinking and ask questions. Such a beautiful, ability. We are the only ones who are able to think our own thinking. You can actually, you may even wonder, why am I thinking like that? You certainly would have asked this question, right? This ability to ask questions about our own thinking, right, exists only for us, only for the human brains. And the introspection, the self reflection, it's also a part of wisdom which our brains alone can do. The self introspection, the self reflection, see, we are the only ones in the whole world who are capable of actually thinking about this self introspection, correcting our own behavior, setting goals, asking questions. Those ability exist only for the humans. We have our brain that links the sensory links, that are triggered by our senses and to actions. Of course, this you can see it in the animals also. The senses actually trigger those actions. So that's because of the mammalian connection that we have. The brain stores the physical map of the world around us. That's the power that human brains actually have. If you close your eyes, the place where you were born and brought up, you will be able to remember the streets, you will be able to remember the houses, you will be able to remember the shops, all those labyrinthine, those streets. And it's basically our brain stores that physical map. That ability exists only for the humans. No other species in the world actually possess that skill. uh, the next one is our brains can actually find out what others' intentions are. This is an important and a special skill that we possess. We are the only ones who can actually think about, what others are thinking, what others' intention. Why is he doing that? You ask, right? You ask, what is what is his intention? Maybe he wants to do this. Maybe he wants to help me. Maybe he wants to, or she wants to, uh, you know um, assist me in the work that I do. You basically ask these questions and you try to understand the intention of the person, the other person, right? That ability exists only for the humans. And she says it's more like an orchestra. She says that the brain systems play together. And she also says that the conductor of this orchestra is the frontal lobe. It's here, it's the frontal lobe, which helps us thinking, which helps us to think about our own thinking. Beautiful, the power of human brain. And so it's more like it's a harmony. Basically, this harmony of the human brain, this power of the human brain, you know, actually gets disturbed because of this disease called dementia. Uh, it's cruel, basically, but nothing can be done because nobody wants it and nobody is prepared for that. It comes naturally, due to various reasons, but we can prevent this disease from affecting us. So in the forthcoming videos I'll be talking about what kind of preparations we need to make, what knowledge should we possess, what kind of lifestyle should we have in order to protect ourselves from this disease. But do watch my video about the human brains and a lot of other details about dementia. Thank you so much for watching this video. I would request you to share this link and the video to all the people whom you think would benefit from this. And I also want to caution you that whatever that I'm sharing this in this video is a theoretical knowledge that I have gathered by watching my mother, by going through a course, by reading a lot of content. If at all anything, any point that I say and mention aligns with your life or your loved ones, please do not hurry up in taking decision or coming to a conclusion. It's very important for you to go and meet a physician, a doctor, consult, go through a complete diagnosis, understand it, and then go for the treatment. Please do not go by whatever that you understand by watching this video. Thank you so much.